Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Gabby, at Witchy Earth Angel. I hope everybody's doing okay. So today's video, I wanted to talk about a couple of things, and a lot of it, this is going to be a story time video. I guess I should have started with that. As usual, I did not plan out exactly what I was going to be talking about, so we'll just wing it. These are some of my positive ones, and these ones I think really helped me change in a good way, and helped me release a lot of the fear that I used to have. I was a very fearful person, especially when it came to anything really. If relationships, you know, I've had some traumatic experiences with relationships and friendships and things like that. So, and also with paranormal experiences, I've had a lot of dark, just horrible experiences. And so I think I just kind of carried that with me, and I felt like I couldn't trust anybody and I couldn't trust anything. And I got back on my, how do I say this? I've been a solitary witch for years, and let's see, I'm 29 now. And I dabbled here and there when I was a teenager, and it's just kind of been something that's always been it's always been in my life, and it's just kind of grown over time. Kind of just shut everything down for, I'd say, about 2 years. And you know, I was raised in a very religious house. I was raised in a very religious household, and so, you know, you can already guess that that stuff didn't really jive with it. I respected them, they respected me for the most part. You know, sometimes we get into arguments because, I mean, we do have very different points of views when it comes to a lot of stuff. It's definitely gotten a lot better since I've gotten older. You know, I matured more, and vice versa, and we just kind of grew together, and we didn't take it personally anymore that we were just different. But I had this moment where, you know, I was doing all of these different studies into different religions, different beliefs. One, I find learning anything about like secret knowledge and stuff like that really interesting. And I think I just kind of went down a rabbit hole, and I thought, I don't know what I believe in anymore. And I'm like, do I believe in this? You know, heaven and a fiery hell if you're not perfect, or do I believe in this? You know, or, you know, I just kind of lost myself for a little while. So I put everything down and I just walked away from it for a while. And I'm not going to talk about this specifically in this video. I did have a period where I think my guides and my higher self just kind of like, I just felt like I got like rocked back and forth really hard into like what I used to believe, where I was going, and to kind of help me like start where, this is where you need to start from now. Like remember, you know. I will talk about that specifically in another video, because there were some really awesome things. I think that they were awesome that happened. And it woke me up, and I was like, oh my god, these, you know, like, it's real, you know, the other side is real. And as if I didn't already know that, but you just forget, you know what I mean? I feel like sometimes it's easy in this life to get distracted, and you get into like a fog, and everything else just kind of slips away. Everything that's really important just falls away from you. And so sometimes we need help to remember. So after this little chunk of time where I think my higher self and guides really worked on me and helped me get back on track, because like I said, I just walked away from everything. I put everything down, and I was like, I'm not thinking about it. I'm not. that's just all I'm doing. I'm just gonna float around in my life for a while, and I can't handle this. So that's what I did. And so they woke me back up a little bit, a lot, and where I feel like I had a really big turning point in my thinking and my life, and was after this one night. It was about 1.5 years ago, to the best of my memory. I'm really bad with like dates and months and whatever, so I just kind of do my best. I don't really pay attention to those things, so that's probably why. I guess some part of me feels like it's not really important, you know. Anyway, about 1.5 years ago, I got my altar set up, like fully, and I did a spell and an invitation, I should say, to my ancestors of love and light. And I invited them into my life, and I asked them to basically just walk with me through my life and to help me and aid me in my journey. I asked for their wisdom, for their guidance, for their help healing, and for their protection. I wanted to be able to let go of my fear, and I knew that there were a lot of things that were blocking me from doing that. And it's understandable why I had these blocks. I had to do certain things to be able to survive in my life, and part of that was I would just shut down completely, and I feel like I kind of became a robot at those times. I didn't feel very much. I wasn't mean, but I felt like my emotions and my feelings were really dampened. Like I just had to shut down, and that gave me the strength to be able to walk away from certain things and run away from things that I needed to run away from, because I tend to be a person that I care too much. I care too much about other people, and I don't really care very much about myself. And that sort of behavior and thinking got me into some really bad situations that I just felt like, I couldn't leave, and I couldn't get out of them, and because I felt bad and I felt like I was being selfish. Of course, now looking back, I realized that I was just being gaslighted, and I wasn't selfish at all. And if anything, I probably should have just gotten out of there. But we all have those times in our lives, and we all learn at our own pace. And it just took me a while to learn how to love myself and learn that, like, I'm valuable just as I am, and I don't have to, like, I'm not selfish because I don't want to be in an abusive situation. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? How those people can really muck up your mind, and somehow it's always your fault. You're the one to blame, and you made them do it, and all these things. So that's where I was trying to change things. I'd gotten away from those situations, but just because you get away from those situations, it doesn't mean that they're not still with you. You still have the aftermath that you gotta deal with, which I think is really unfair, if I'm honest, because it's like, can't I just leave it and it just be back there? Does it have to hang around with me? So I had some wounds, and some of them I still have, and I know that it's probably something that I'm gonna have to work on for the rest of my life. But I don't know how to say this. I basically poured my heart out into this prayer and into this invitation. I almost think of it as a letter. Like I'm writing a letter, and I'm gonna send it to them, and when they're ready to answer it, they'll answer it, and I just gotta be patient. You know what I mean? So that's how I think about it. So I wrote them this letter, my ancestors, my spirit family of love and light, just inviting them into my life. I need help, and I just, like they already know, right? They can see you. They've been watching your life like a movie, and they're like, finally, she's asking us for help. I asked them for, confirmation, and it was just, I'm very thankful, I'm very grateful, thank you so much, I love you, and I can't wait to hear back from you. Like, I didn't know what to say. So, I lit a particular candle and incense. I did I'm going to keep some of the ritual. Well, I'm going to keep all of the ritual besides those things that I just told you, very personal, because it was very personal. And that night, I had kind of a strange experience, and I just had this feeling like, oh my God, they're here, like they responded to my invitation, and they're here. I always think that when I do these rituals and I send out these invitations, I want to be patient. I don't want to, like, is it going to be instant? I don't want to, like, rush them. So I just kind of set my mind to thinking, it's going to be a little while, so go about your business, and they'll get to you when they get to you. So I'm thinking it's going to be a while, I go to sleep that night, bedroom door is open, everything's normal, everything's fine. My dog's laying on the end of my bed, and I don't know, I felt really relaxed, and I'm like, everything's gonna be okay, don't be scared. And I felt this rush of air. It was cool air. It wasn't cold. I guess, yeah, it wasn't super cold, but it was like a cool breeze came into my room, and I could feel and hear footsteps. Somebody walking into my room. And I opened my eyes. I don't see anybody, but they stopped kind of where my head was. And I could feel like I was being looked at, just like being observed. Not judged. I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel creeped out either, which I thought was weird, because you would think that you would feel creeped out. I'm just laying there. And then after a couple minutes, I was like, alright, I don't know. I was like, hello? In my mind, I'm like, hello? How are you? I don't know what to say. But if you're my ancestors, I love you, and I'm really grateful that you're here, and I hope you have a good night. It's like, I'm gonna go to bed. I didn't know what to do, so I fell asleep, and as I was about to fall asleep, I then heard whoever it was walk away. Again, I opened my eyes. I didn't see anybody, but I could hear and feel them walking away and walking out of my room. And the weird thing is, I think I've always felt that presence with me ever since that night. And in my third eye, I can feel like I can see them, but I can only see them from like here down. I feel like they're a woman, and they're wearing like a long tan poncho. I'm gonna leave it at tan, because I feel like I do remember seeing some like designs on it, like different colors, but for the most part I remember it being tan. I think that they're feminine. They feel feminine to me. And that's all that I see. And they're barefoot. And I feel like they have no pants on. The poncho's pretty long, but from like almost their knee down is just their legs and bare feet, and that's it. But I don't feel threatened, I don't feel scared, and I didn't feel like they were gonna harm me or anything like that. But I felt like they were just observing me. And and then after that, every job that I've been to, one specifically, apparently they never really had any activity at that place. But after I went there, and it was only when it was just like two of us alone in the front room or in the back room, you would hear people. You would hear somebody in the bathroom making noises, clinking around, like they're rummaging through stuff. And you'd hear somebody, but when you'd look over there, or you'd go in there, you couldn't see anybody. At one point in time, I am going to talk about this, I wonder if this was a test. Because for a while, I would hear this woman's voice telling me to hex people. And I already knew that from my tarot spread that I did when I started this new job, It told me that I wasn't gonna be there for like a full year, that I was gonna learn a lot of lessons from this place. I think that's kind of when it pointed out that I'm gonna have a hard time working for other people, because I'm kind of meant to do something else. I'm meant to do something on my own in a way, and I don't know if I figured that all out yet, but I knew that there was, I was hoping that it was wrong, but it ended up being right. Anyway, there were certain people there that were kind of toxic. Not kind of, but that were toxic. And it wasn't just at this workplace, it was at another workplace. I thought I saw somebody, but it was just me freaking out. And there was just this woman's voice that would come into my head, and that was like, you should hex them. Hex them. Hex them. Whenever something would happen, I'd be like, whoa. And I just hear, hex them. Hex them. And I'm like, I don't want to. Like, I wish in some instances I wish I would have, because I feel like maybe it would have made the situation better, and maybe it would have been able to protect people. I have my own feelings when it comes to hexes and things like that. I'm not for or against. I'm kind of neutral. As long as you're using it for justice, as long as I'm using it for justice, I should say, because that's your personal business and I respect that. As long as I use it for protection and I use it justly, you know what I mean, I feel like it might be okay. But still, sometimes I feel like I don't know. So I'm kind of undecided for it myself. And then eventually, and it's the same woman's voice, we were in the back room working. So at one point in time, the lady that I was working with in the back was up by these tables against the wall, and I was kind of further back in the room. I forget what I was doing, like putting sticks in a bag, and I turned around and I felt somebody's lips, like, this is gonna sound weird, like they like kind of pushed him up against my ear and was like, hey. And I was like, whoa, and it was loud. And I was like, what the hell, man? And I turned around and I'm like, how'd you get over there so fast? She's still across the room. And she's like, I've been here, Gabby. I'm talking to you. Aren't you listening to me? And I was like, you didn't come over here? She was like, no. You know, she looked at me like I'm crazy. So I told her what happened. I was like, I could have sworn that that was you, because I felt it. And I could feel the breath and everything right up against my ear. Hey. But it like even vibrated in my ear. And so it just surprised me. But it was the same voice that I've been hearing telling me to hex people. I have an idea of maybe who that was. But until I'm sure, I'm gonna keep that a secret. I'm gonna keep it to myself. That can be a video all in and of itself. So these are things that just kind of like, I don't know, they opened me up a little bit. It was almost like it's like every day I feel like I'm not alone, and I feel like I'm surrounded by people that I'm safe with, people that I feel really comfortable being around me. I don't mind them being in my space. I don't mind them being in my home. And that's something that I never thought that I would say. Like, I feel like our home is filled with spirits, and it makes me happy. I feel really happy because I feel their love. And even though I may not always hear them, I can feel them around me. It's just their presence. You know what I mean? It's so beautiful. The next thing that I noticed that really started happening was I would see silhouettes of people, but I could make out, I guess not really silhouettes, they were like wispy white and almost luminous. I could make out like facial features, but they would come and go fast. It's like as they were moving, I would see them and then they would disappear. But they were really, like I said, wispy, misty-like in a way. And I don't remember seeing like full body, just like from here up. And I would just see them here and there throughout the day, every day. I would see little sparkles. It's like little sparkles up in the air, kind of things like that, you know what I mean? I don't remember things going missing. I don't think that they really played around like that, but I would just see them around. I don't know if all of them were my ancestors, but I felt like I was, for once in my life, I was surrounded by really positive, loving beings that I didn't mind being in my life. And every day I felt like I was growing closer and closer to source energy. And all of that stemmed from one spell / invitation. One. And it's like every day things just, even though we've gone through things, and sometimes I forget, but I know that they're here with me, and I know that I'm not alone. My husband and I went through a really tough time for a little while, and I sent out another prayer. I kept seeing certain signs, pop up, and I followed them, and they led me to a particular goddess. And at first I was like, this goddess? Me? I don't know. I'll follow the crumbs, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. So I followed the crumbs, and I got some books on this particular goddess. I was kind of not sure about it. But one day, I had a day off, and my husband went to work, so I had the whole house to myself. And I cleaned and everything, and finally I was like, I think I'm going to crack open one of those books and kind of start diving in. And I just felt I was having a hard day that day. And I was having a hard time not crying every day. It would hit me in the middle of work. It didn't matter where I was. And I would just have to stop what I was doing, keep my sunglasses on, go to the bathroom, and it was like it was overflowing within me, and I couldn't stop myself from crying. And that's just how my days were for a little while. I was really struggling with wanting to live. I'm not gonna lie. And so I was reading this book, and I was having these feelings, I was kind of in this spot. And I said a prayer, and it was, again, I was asking for help during this time. I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to hurt my family by hurting myself. And so I asked and sent out a prayer for what I need and the help that I need in the way that I need it. Again, I kind of poured my heart into everything, into the prayer, and I felt like a few minutes afterwards, I felt like somebody was here in our home, and I felt like I could see her. First I saw I had a vision of her, and then she kind of morphed into this, it looked like a mini tornado, if that's how I can explain it. Like a mini tornado, kind of grayish, and it worked its way from my bedroom down the hallway, and it was really slow, and I could see it in here, and I could feel it coming toward me and moving toward me. And then I just felt, I don't know, I felt loved, and I felt like everything was gonna be okay. And then it just kind of dissipated, and so I wasn't really sure what that was or what to expect. Obviously now I realize that I think that was her, one, confirming who she was, two, that I was on the right path with getting those books and that it was her, and three, I think that was her letting me know that she was answering my prayer, and she has been with me ever since. I feel her with me. I don't hear her, but I just feel her. She's just such a beautiful being and a beautiful energy, and I'm really grateful for her being in my life. And her love and her comfort really, really helped me. I think she's the one who helped me get through when we really had to go through like the hardest part of it. And I think she gave me the support and the comfort that I needed. That wasn't even a spell. That was just a prayer. And again, another invitation. And maybe it's because I'm like pouring my heart out. And you know, like, magic is powerful. Magic is real. I know it may sound funny and they're like, oh, magic, you know, you're a witch, whatever. You know, people kind of give you crazy looks and treat you like maybe you should be in the loony bin or something. But magic is strong. And I wonder if that's why things happen, like, it felt like just moments later or the same day. When sometimes I feel like when I do certain things, it takes a while to get a response back. You know what I mean? So maybe it is just because I'm like pouring everything into the prayer, spell, invitation, you know, respectively, whatever you'd like to call it. The other thing that I would like to talk about is, this is a really beautiful story. And I might not be able to help myself from getting emotional while I'm telling you this. Telling you about an experience I had with my grandmother after she passed away. I've had a lot of little things that have happened and I knew it was my grandma. But this was the second experience I had after she passed. The first one was, it was nothing crazy or anything, but I went back to, we were all up at my sister's house, kind of having, you know, where you just get together and you recount their lives and you just kind of celebrate everything, you know, and just share memories that you have with this loved one. And my brother's wife at that time, now ex-wife respectively, was at my mom and dad's house, and that's where they were staying, because they had to fly over from Georgia. So she was at my mom and dad's getting ready, getting out of the shower. She had visited her family. So I went to go pick her up, and when I got there, she said, you know, I just need a couple more minutes, and excuse me, I keep having like hiccups, and then I'll be ready. And I'm like, okay. So I sit on the couch, and the TV is right against my mom and dad's wall. And in the second room, or in the other room, we call it the computer room, we used to have a big pool table, and the laundry room is in there. And they always left the light on that goes over the washer and dryer, and it shines through the slats of the laundry room doors. So it lights up that room pretty well. And I'm sitting on the couch, the TV's on, but it's muted. And I was like, you know, I'm not really interested. So I'm just sitting there, kind of thinking and just looking around the house, you know. And I kept hearing footsteps. Like somebody, you know, I just kept hearing somebody walking around. And I thought that I saw someone literally walking around the pool table. But she was really transparent. And I even said, hello? I could see the outline of her hair. Her hair was really done up in like that beehive type of hairdo that they used to do. And that's all that I could make out. But I could tell that this person was feminine. And I really felt like it might have been my grandma. And she goes, oh yeah, his ex-wife called from the bathroom. She goes, that's why I have the TV on. I muted it because I knew you were coming. But she goes, I basically had it on just as background noise because I kept hearing somebody walking around in there. And I was like, okay, I thought I was crazy because I literally just heard and saw somebody walking around in the computer room around the pool table. And she goes, yep, that's exactly what I've been seeing. And it's been going on since I've been alone here. And I was like, wow. And then I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything else. So I was like, that's interesting. I wonder if it is. Well, we'll see, you know. Again, I didn't get a sick feeling or a bad feeling from this presence. So I didn't you know, like try to like tell it to get out, or like it can't be here, it's not welcome here. But I wasn't quite sure that it was my grandma, so I didn't want to like talk to it or anything. I would say that it was, I don't know, maybe a week or so later, I had gone back to work, and I was just having a really hard time sleeping, and I'll go through bouts of insomnia and things like that. So this was just one of my bouts, I guess, and I don't always like taking things to help me sleep. So sometimes I just have to kind of wait until my body just passes out from exhaustion, and that's what I gotta do. So I was laying there one night and I was trying to fall asleep, and I sleep with a nightlight. When I sleep by myself, I sleep with a nightlight, and I'm unashamed of that fact. Well, I see my nightlight being kind of blocked out. It just goes whoosh, and kind of dims. And I was like, so you know, I'm like, what the hell, you know? I sit up and I open my eyes and I see my grandma standing in front of my nightlight. And she's got that same hairdo. She's got her earrings and her rings that she liked to wear, and all of her little bracelets. And she's wearing this hot pink, it's this hot pink dress. She looked beautiful. And she looked like she did like in her early 20s. And I remember going, Grandma? And then I remember I had a hard time staying sit up. I just kind of felt like the exhaustion really hit me. And I remember feeling her get into bed with me. And she put her arm kind of like around my head. And she was just caressing my face and playing with my hair. And I could feel it like clear as day. Like if she was still really here, you know, doing that, touching me. I could feel her. And I started crying. And I said, I'm sorry, Grandma. And she goes, what are you sorry for? Why are you sorry? And I said, because I haven't been a very good granddaughter. You know, I was like, I feel like I wasn't a good granddaughter, like I wasn't there enough, and I just wasn't a very good sister. And I'm really sorry. And I said, could you forgive me? And she goes, oh, shh. You know, she's like, you have nothing to be sorry for, and there's nothing to forgive. And she said, I know that you loved me. And I knew you loved me then, and I know that you love me now. And I think I kind of went to go on, but, you know, she's like shushing me, you know, she's like, relax. She goes, you need your rest. You need to rest. And I said, I know, but I'm having such a hard time lately. She goes, I know, I see that. And she just keeps caressing me, and she's like, just relax. Go to sleep. Rest now. Rest. Everything's okay. I love you. And she goes, I'm okay. I'm okay. And then I fell asleep. And my alarm went off. And I could barely turn it off because I felt like I had no energy in me. Like I was so tired. I couldn't move. I ended up sleeping until like a half hour before I had to go to work. And I worked the night shift. I went in at like 4. And I slept till 3:30. I could not get out of bed. There was just like I had to sleep. I had to sleep. And that was the most restful sleep that I had had in years. And I don't know, something about it, like I knew that she was okay. And, you know, she wasn't sad, she was happy, she looked beautiful, she looked like she was just having the time of her life. And I don't know, I felt like that really changed my perception of death. Death is still sad, and it's still hard to go through those times. But I feel, it made me feel like there's no separation. Like they are literally always with you. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean that they're not right here in your room, in your living room, or with you every day throughout your life. The spirit world is amazing. This world is amazing, and it just kind of reminded me of the magic in life, the beauty of life. That we don't end. You know, we really do just keep going. We keep growing, we keep evolving. We're eternal beings. And she's just kind of, after that, she just kept popping in, you know, throughout my life. Some of it was silly, some of it was really funny, and some of it I felt like I would literally feel her put her hand on my shoulder and she would just rub my back. She's had really long, kind of longer nails, and used to love when she would take them and like rub my back with them. She just kind of lightly drag them. It felt so good, and I would feel that whenever I was really upset or really overwhelmed and stressed, you know, all that stuff. She would just calm me down. Like, I'm here, you're not alone, it's okay. Breathe. I hope that me sharing these stories, no matter how weird or unplanned that they may be, I really hope that it helps somebody out there feel comforted and feel, if you do have those experiences, that you're not alone, you're not crazy, but just to feel comforted. You know, death isn't the end, and our loved ones are all around us all the time, and we're never alone. I really wanted to share these stories with you. These things that happened were really close to my heart, and they just really helped inspire me and help me remember what this whole thing is really all about, and that's all about love. It's all about love. And just because we may not be in our physical bodies anymore doesn't mean that we aren't anymore. Like, it doesn't mean that we just don't exist anymore, or that we can't contact our loved ones. I want to put a disclaimer out there, because I know sometimes people will do things because they do want to contact their loved ones. Yes, you have to be careful about it. Be very specific. Make sure as to who you're contacting. Make sure that you set up protection. Talk to your archangels, talk to your guides, your ascended masters, your whole spiritual team that we have with us, and including source energy. Ask them for protection. Ask them to make sure that nothing negative can get in. You ask them for their help in contacting who you want to contact. Be very, very specific. Only love, only light. I don't want any tricksters. I don't want any, imposters. Nothing negative is welcome here. Cast your circle. Just make sure to set up your shields first. Basically, all your protection first before you try to contact whoever you want to contact. Your loved ones. Yeah, that's a disclaimer, because I don't want to say that and someone be like, oh, I'm just gonna get a Ouija board and start, like, whoa, be careful. I've never used a Ouija board. I've only used I think it's called an angel message board. It's basically the same. I would think it's built the same almost. It has the little thing, planchette. I'd love to try a Ouija board, respectively, but again, I want to be very careful. So I just want to make sure that I put that disclaimer out there. I have never used a Ouija board, so I have no experience with that. But there are other ways to contact spirits besides using a Ouija board. Just make sure to do it properly. Make sure that you are doing it safely and responsibly for your benefit and anyone who lives with you, their benefit too. I hope that you were able to enjoy this video. I hope that it opened up your heart to the possibility and knowing that your loved ones are always with you, that we're not alone, that the spirit world and our world are like this. So you can contact them, you can talk to them, send out a very safely send out a loving invitation to whoever, to your loved ones, and hopefully it works for you like it worked for me. Again, just remember that death is not the end. I'm sorry for the ramble. I love you guys. God bless. Source bless. You blessed be. Everybody have a great day. And until next time, I love you guys. Mwah! Bye-bye.